After two eye-popping performances against Scoot Henderson's G League Ignite squad, the hype for Victor Wembanyama has never been bigger.
Victor Wembanyama is the singular greatest prospect in NBA draft history.
Between his sheer size, the fluidity of his game, and his two-way potential, the giant Frenchman is clearly the real deal. And yet, it feels like we need to pump the brakes on how carried away we get when we talk about his future. Greatest prospect ever? He might not even be the best prospect of the last 5 years. None of this is meant to disparage Wembanyama himself. He's a breathtaking prospect and perhaps the most unique young talent we've ever seen. As I wrote earlier in 2022, at 7'4", Wemby is like the final product of decades worth of 7-footer evolution. An even more complete version of archetypal unicorns like Kevin Durant and Dirk Nowitzki, and more recently Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Kristaps Porzingis.
They created a monster.
Wembanyama's complete game almost begs the question, what if I can do everything required of a modern superstar in the positionless era while also being 7'4" in a game where the goal remains 10 feet high? And of course, when you see an 18-year-old with a Durant-esque offensive game and Gobert-like defensive potential, it's easy to let your imagination run wild. But some of the hyperbole around Wembanyama boils down to recency bias, as well as the increasingly awesome power of social media. There's a difference between most unique and best, or most fascinating and scariest. I know it's been almost 20 years now since LeBron James was a mere prospect, but I remember it being pretty damn scary that a guy built like a linebacker who ran like a sprinter also had Magic-esque point guard vision. James, or the chosen one, was a Sports Illustrated cover boy at 17. His high school games demanded national television attention. He lost one in-state game over the course of his 4-year high school career. He put up 25 points, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, and 4 steals in 42 minutes during his NBA debut at 18 years old, and was the best player on the planet within 4 or 5 years tops. Wembanyama, on the other hand, averaged roughly 8 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 18 minutes per game during his first full season of top-tier basketball in France and Europe last season, with his gaudiest numbers coming against youth and amateur competition. Comparisons to James are already tough enough. Putting any prospect above LeBron and what he already was when he first set foot on an NBA court back in 2003 is preposterous. You could call Wembanyama the best prospect since LeBron, but even that isn't so cut and dry. Wembanyama's modest numbers during his first full season in France's top basketball division can be explained at least in part by the fact that youngsters, even NBA-bound superstars, are rarely entrusted with heavy workloads or high usage rates in Europe. But that point alone is a reminder of how our perception can be influenced by recency when it comes to Wembanyama. Because let's not forget that Luka Doncic made his professional debut in the top tier of Spanish basketball at only 16 years old. And by his age 18 season was averaging 16 points in 26 minutes to lead Real Madrid to a Spanish League and EuroLeague championship double. A teenage Doncic also won MVP of both competitions, largely seen as the next best basketball leagues in the world after the NBA, and helped lead Slovenia to a stunning Eurobasket victory in 2017, a year before being drafted. Wembanyama has yet to even make his senior national team debut for France after an injury kept him out of Eurobasket 2022, which brings us to our last point. We obviously hope every up-and-coming prospect has the fortune of pristine health, and no one wants to be the Debbie Downer who brings up Wemby's potential for injury. But these things do matter when you're comparing talents and projecting forward. Now, Wembanyama hasn't dealt with anything that would rise to the level of a red flag, but his size alone comes with its risks. Though listed at 7'4", the lengthy teenager recently claimed to be only 7'3". Still, consider that of the 26 players 7'3" or taller who've played in the association, none ever reached 900 career games played. If you narrow that list down to the dozen players 7'3" or taller drafted in the 21st century, none have yet to even crack the 500 game mark. Some of that can be attributed to how few of those players were actually any good. But even still, take the 5 retired players, 7'3" or taller, who made at least one All-Star team, and the average career length was 705 games. Put another way, just 1 game longer than the injury-plagued career of Penny Hardaway. Yao Ming and Ralph Sampson are the only 2 players 7'3" or taller to make an All-NBA team. The average length of their 2 careers was 471 games. By contrast, the average career length of every other retired player that made an All-NBA team since Sampson debuted was 1,017 games. It's possible Wembanyama bucks this trend, and we certainly hope he does. But the expected longevity, or lack thereof, of players his size has to be taken into account when you're putting him in the same breath as LeBron James. Victor Wembanyama is going to be great. Of that, there's little doubt. He should be the consensus #1 pick in what's shaping up to be a loaded 2023 draft class. And he may very well be a better prospect than other highly touted big men like Anthony Davis or Zion Williamson ever were. But better than Bron? Better than Luka even? The best prospect ever? I won't go that far, and you shouldn't either.
Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.